Hello and welcome back to Downtime Activities, and welcome back to Skygate, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign that takes part almost entirely underground. Last time, deep in the Underdark, our group of adventurers happened upon the corpse of a dead Empyrean in the cavern of Agaval's demise? I named it.
That sounds right. Also saying we happened upon it makes it sound like we weren't actively searching for it. It makes it sound like we wandered in there like, whoa, look at this.
Where'd that come from?
And at this place found a Durgar mining operation harvesting bits and pieces from this long-dead child of a god.
And now we are.
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Why is that funny?
It's really funny.
Never flum your cum.
You gotta stop.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
You, Matty G, discussed at some point just like ditching as many of our supplies
ditching
as
enough.
we can, and then just like.
I don't think we're gonna find anything more interesting down here than this.
Yeah, and I think his exact words were, keep enough to get us back to gate, but ditch enough that we could just load up on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be my thought. Not a small amount of that comes from the idea of going through the gates with like a giant god sword, which sounds pretty fucking sweet. So we're.
Could we? Do you think we could just makeshift, or these Durgar are a bunch of like machinery stuff? Do you think we could just attach wheels to this skeleton and just haul it all the way back up using our goats?
That's funny.
You think that'd be this is a pretty massive corpse here. Again, we're talking like 30 feet tall. It is definitely way too many bones for you guys to fit onto that, and probably way too much weight for your goats to haul. That being said, a decent number of these bones, looking across the camp and the remains of these Duergar, there's a lot of Duergar corpses. There is two different contraptions that seem to be some sort of like chainsaw mechanism that affixes to a hand. If you take a look at those, though, you can see that the hands of the things who are using these are pretty mutilated. And there's these two other contraptions that are kind of hammer, mine pick, like robo-mech suits. And you can see that the Duergar who are inside of that, their bodies are pretty macerated up, too. It seems like their pain essentially was fueling these machines to make them work. Apart from those machines and the kind of generic gear on this group of Underdark, you can see there's a massive spear shaft on the ground now. The spearhead is still lodged in the chest of this thing. There's a decent number of the bones, especially from like the legs, feet, hips area of this long dead Empyrean, that have been kind of carved up already by these machines, and it seems like kind of ground down some of them into finer like shards and dusts and stuff like that. It seems like they were kind of processing the bones already.
Nice.
I think I want to prioritize getting the head of the spear if we can. That just seems neat.
Yeah.
Whether we make something out of it or
The spearhead seems a lot more valuable than the actual half of
You don't hear about the legendary half of the spear.
the legendary shaft of the spear.
You hear about legendary shafts. Yeah. So yeah, we can try to see about like maybe getting the goats to like harness them up and like secure like some ropes to it and try to like pull
smack the goats on the run.
The old adventure.
Yeah.
And then there's also taking back samples of like the bone shards and dust to see what that would be valuable with. The real question is, this is like our spot now, right? We're like, no one else, we don't tell anyone else where this is. We're just like, look, we found this cool shit in the Underdark. And we're like, wow, this is worth its weight in platinum. We're like, Cool. We'll be back with another shipment in like 2 weeks.
I also wonder though if it's far enough that maybe we probably should just load up as much as we can on the first go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
You do know also that the Dwergar found this.
Right.
You don't know how many Dwergar know about this or if others will come, but this operation, it seems to have been here for a little bit of time at least and seems to be fairly well established and encamped here. So you don't know how many Dwergar may or may not be here after you leave or when you come back.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we might have to. What we need to do is make it look like an accident. And then it's just like they just all mysteriously disappeared. No adventure
Just
parties.
line them all up underneath the shaft.
It was a tragic accident. The trees fell
just-
off, all 6 of them at the same time in a straight line.
Timber. Tim, what?
I want to do that simply because it'd be hilarious.
Do you want to use your wizarding ways to figure out what from this thing might be like useful or valuable? And I guess maybe a couple of the other of us will work on getting that spear out of there.
Yeah, that sounds like a thing a wizard could do.
That sounds like a thing a wizard could do.
Yeah.
What does have an interval?
So you guys are gonna try to get the spearhead out? Is that the idea?
I think so. I think we should kind of focus on that a little bit.
Okay.
Who's gonna spear?
There are still 2 harnesses set
Oh,
up
that's good.
that you have like a pulley system from the ground level that you could use to elevate 2 people up to the level of that. Seems like they're
I
using
can-
with those 2 chainsaw hand guys.
I can be one of the guys on a pulley, so whoever wants to get loaded up into the.
I'm small and light. I'll go up there.
Dexterous.
And strong.
Yes, but who has any? What was the skill in 3.5? Not tying. Like
Use rope.
use rope. Yeah, who's got a high use rope skill?
Yeah, sorry.
Bring back used rope.
That's what modern D&D is missing. Back in my day, D&D had some balls. D&D
You
had
had
to
to
use
use
rope
rope.
skill.
Using rope was an entire skill. With feats attached to it.
For tying up feet.
Firmly attached to it because you had a high use rope skill.
Yeah, I'll go up in one of the harnesses to try and.
All right, the moment
See if I
Candle
can
is
just have it.
harnessed in, I start raising him up to the spear.
Okay.
I'm not very sure.
You are able to do so. No check required. This is a decently well-made harness that has a pulley system that has been set up to get somebody up there.
And I'm about the size of a dwarf, so it all works out.
Yeah, it's well fit.
Yeah.
Does this thing seem like it's pretty well jammed into the stone? Like, does it seem like there's any play in it at all, or?
You know, it seems like it's not so much basically looking at it, this body has deteriorated over time enough that it's just a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that like the spear isn't really lodged in the skeleton itself anymore. It's kind of between 2 ribs at the back of it, and like pressed into the rock. And it's less of like a flush, like perfectly embedded in the rock, and it's more of like there's a huge crack in the flat stone wall that this thing created when it embedded into it. It is embedded fairly deep into that, but there is like you like trying to move it. It's like a heavy rock wedged between 2 other heavy rocks. Like it doesn't really have a ton of play at just one person trying to adjust it. But it isn't like perfectly circumferentially like kind of surrounded by stone. It's lodged in a crack with space above and below.
I mean, I've got a crowbar.
Yeah, I think we should just like I said, rope it up to the goats or something. Give it all heave ho from the crew. And then worst case scenario, I can always use our favorite spell.
Chatter.
just
Bring this whole tavern down on our heads?
yeah.
Then it will really look like an accident.
It will look like an accident when I also kill all of us. It's
Well,
an accident.
I mean, this cavern is really big.
Yeah.
You don't think that this one little section is like a load-bearing chunk of wall. There's a chance it causes some bits and stuff to cave in around where it's at with something like a shatter, but it's not like you cast Shatter on this crack, and the whole cavern collapses in on you. It's a very large cavern.
Can our
It was a
dwarf
large
find
enough
that?
cavern that a 30-foot tall individual was living here.
Why did we use the pulley system when we had the slide whistle?
Oh, that's true. We could just slide whistle up. This is the police system was there. It seemed like a thing to do.
Yeah, it's
We're all a little embarrassed to use the slide whistle. It's slightly humiliating.
Fair enough.
And you guys didn't even ask.
oh yeah, because Lala's like holding it hostage unless you ask nicely. So
Yeah, I mean, I can tie a rope to it from up here if somebody wants to run and grab the goats
Yeah.
from wherever we left them.
Grab the goats. Oh, goats.
You give him the patented goat whistle.
what?
We have a
What are
slide
they?
whistle called slides.
Oh,
The
the
goat
of course.
whistle are called goats.
The slide whistle only calls slides. Oh god.
Do you remember either of the goats' names?
Brian.
Ignacio
Yeah.
Hey, there's
and
one.
Sherlina.
Hey!
I did.
Only way to remember that.
I only got to Sherlina from Ignacio somehow. I was like, one of them was a very Spanish name. It was like, and then from somehow getting Ignacio was like, the other one was like Sherlina.
It just didn't make sense. It was weird.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a dexterity check to tie, like, kind of put a knot. I'd let you use survival as well, if you want to use that for, like, knowing knots.
Mr. Tying Knots.
Somebody needs a knot tied that come to him. Get real.
Get real.
He's too drunk half the time.
Just a basic dexterity, or
Yeah, it'd be a flat dexterity if you're just trying to kind of deftly move the rope around in a way that seems taut. But if you're
Survival
trying to
is-
tie like a specific knot, I'd say.
in that case, survival is technically slightly higher. So it's a 9.
You tie a knot. Do you think some solid knot on there?
It's not so solid.
What have I tied it around?
It's tied around the sharp end of the spear once we pull it.
I tie it around it, give it a wave, and like the goats start going. It's just tied
You slap the
around
goat gas and just run off into the caverns and leave you guys in the dust.
Alright. Yeah, we'll harness
Looks like
it up to
Dermir is
the,
pulling the wagon.
harness it up to the goats and try to.
Try and have them pull on it.
Yeah.
I'll
No-
try and use the crowbar up top as well to
Okay.
try and put some
No real
leverage on
animal
it.
handling is required. These goats are beasts of burden who are used to tugging on stuff. That's kind of their whole shtick. I will roll for each of them. Okay.
Their feet.
They
are
start pulling, and it's like it is really, really like taut, and they seem to be really driving their hooves into the earth below them. And the rope kind of is tugging, and the knot seems to hold, and then the rope kind of starts to twist and unfurl, and you can see with like your crowbar, this spearhead shifts and pops a little bit loose, but the rope comes unfurled and frayed, and it basically ruins the length of rope.
Oh,
There
wonder if
goes
there's any
my
chain
50 feet of
around.
hempen rope. This is the second character of mine. 2 sessions back to back to have lost 50 feet of hempen rope.
It's a damn shame.
The last 50 feet of hempen rope was tied around someone, and I threw him into a swamp. But
Brutal.
you should have been clearer about how you wanted him released into the
That,
swamp.
you know,
That poor.
I thought the word
harmless little
released
dude.
should say a lot.
Who hadn't done anything
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. That's when he was so confused. I was like, I haven't even done anything yet. How are you already here?
We're just that good.
They're just that.
But it does seem to have loosened the spearhead. However, that bit of rope is frayed.
Do we?
Yeah,
Can
unusable.
I investigate the area to see if they used like any chain or anything like that, or like if they had rope that they were using?
Sure. You can go ahead and roll me an investigation to look over the area.
That's a 10.
A 10? That's a 10. You're vanilla. They didn't have, you don't find any other like chain or anything with their supplies. They have some short cords of rope and some manacles on them, with like short bits of chain, but they don't have any sort of like long bits of chain with their supplies. There seems to be some like metal chainwork and stuff, and that's like a part of the moving machinery of the kind of suits that the people are in. You could potentially harvest from those, but again, it's probably not enough to get from the top of the spear all the way down and attached to the goats with.
What about rope?
With enough slack?
Do they have like extra rope?
Sure. I'd say you got 50 more feet of rope that
Hey.
one of them had in the pack.
Let's try it again.
Let's try it again. All right.
Do you think
Go ahead and
that
give me another
spear
survival
was
check
less
for the
than a
Nox.
horse?
Gear up.
The spearhead we're trying to get up.
That's a good question. How much does a horse weigh?
Because I'm like, my telekinetic movement can move a large-sized creature. So if it weighs less than a large-sized object.
Oh.
So if it's large or smaller, I could just yoink with the force.
I would call it large. I mean, it would be very cool if you want to try it, but. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, stop.
We're gonna get copyright.
Disney's coming for us.
Quick, do a legally distinct melody.
Do the minor version of it. Whatever it is.
Do the Kids Bob version.
Give me the doom metal version.
If the spearhead stuck to the wall is like about the size of a horse, I will try to use the force. That was such a horrible inadvertent rhyme, but I got myself
Pumpkin
off guard.
rapping is about to happen.
If it's the size of a horse, I'll use the horse.
I got myself off guard with that.
This
I
thing
think
is
I can pull
probably
it down.
the size of or smaller than a horse.
Oh.
Okay, I will just try and telekinesis it out of there and down to
Okay.
the ground. I have to be within 30 feet of it, so I might have to go up in the pulley a little.
It's less than 30 feet up. If you get like just below it, you could definitely do that.
No, just below it. You heard it.
So don't lose focus.
This thing like toe to brow is like 30 feet tall, and it was sitting back against the. It's like pinned against this. It's not the spear is chest level. It's half standing in this wall corner, so it's not like
It's like 10
30 feet up. It's probably like 20 feet up in the air.
Is there magic coming off of this thing? Or?
Oh, I didn't actually check that. I guess while he's getting himself set up, I can detect magic on the
It does give off a faint bit of magic. Probably. It's magic. I don't know if it would give off a specific school.
It's kind
maybe
of like innately magical, so it's
innately magical. Like in looking at it, it's like a fancy gilded, golden-looking metal. Kind of something. Its color is a little more matte, like matte, matte, and less shiny. Shimmery as gold, but it's the color of gold.
Nope, you heard him. It's made out of solid gold.
Better, it's made out of space Jesus gold.
The best kind of gold.
What happens if
go
I
ahead
try
and-
to be a Jedi?
With this telekinesis, go ahead and roll me a intelligence check with proficiency. Since this isn't a loose object, it's a wedged object still.
Alright, let's see what happens.
It is
You gotta
loosened
lift.
from what it was wedged in there, so this will be an easier check.
You're not
because
just lifting an X-Wing, you're lifting an X-Wing out of the Dagobah swamp.
That's a 23.
23.
But you're not Luke Jr.
Legally.
Hold on, everybody. Leave this to me.
Force music. And you kind of hover, and this thing kind of and like comes out, and as it loosens from the rock, like you're able to dislodge it, and then fairly quickly step to the side as it comes crashing down, as it is quite heavy.
Okay.
But it does get dislodged and come crumbling.
Hey.
Shadows goes from choice on the ground as it gets there.
We did it.
Could we do some cart math to figure out, like, how much supplies do we have to sacrifice on the altar of getting this thing back to the...
So you are currently, if you go the most direct route back and don't get lost,
Right.
19 days away from Skygate. You have 39 days worth of rations. So you have about double the rations you need for a return trip right now. A little more than double the rations you need for a return trip if everything goes smoothly on that return trip.
We would never do it.
Ever.
You think if this thing size-wise will take up most of the cart, at least it's more lengthwise than widthwise, so you can fit stuff on the sides. If you're wanting to keep the large, kind of crystalline clusters you guys had, get this thing on the back of there, you'd have to if you want to be able to take any bone at all with you, you would have to probably go down to basically, you'd have to cut your rations you have in there in half. Like, you would have maybe 1 extra day's worth to get back there if you're wanting to be able to take any of this bone with you as well.
Somebody who has the portable hole.
Was it Lala?
Because I had portable hole written on here, but it's partially erased, so I assume that means I gave it to somebody.
I don't have it.
I don't have it. Maybe you erased it by accident.
It could. Oh yeah. Sorry, I have the portable hole.
Maybe Erickson was like, crap, I shouldn't have given that to him.
You snuck in, erased it off my character sheet. I think it
While
might have
I
been,
was in town, I broke into Sklur's house and erased it off your character sheet.
it might have
No,
been
we're here.
right underneath it. I had the slide
Oh yeah, I
whistle.
did come over there.
You
That's
were
right.
here at one point.
It might have been that underneath it I
Did
had
we
the
all
slide
keep an
whistle,
eye on
and
Erickson
so I
the
erased
entire
the slide
time?
whistle and it got like the bottom part of the.
I was asleep.
Here's the
so
thing.
no.
Yeah.
You guys think that the point of the portable hole is to store your ill-gotten gains.
Right.
You think that getting this spearhead into and then out of that portable hole would not be easy.
No. But
Because
But
of
we
the
can
weight
put everything
and-
else in the portable hole.
But you think that you could probably keep your rations and the spearhead in the back of this and be able to take more of the bone and put it in
Hell yeah.
this portable hole.
Crystals,
And the crystals.
crystals, god bones, god spear.
Can
We
we
just,
just
can we just put the whole
bed.
skeleton in the portable hole? And just
There's probably wouldn't fit the whole thing. Also, you guys would have to spend some time and have some tools if you're trying to break down more of this thing.
Right.
No. Go ahead and you can make a religion check if anyone wants to make a religion check on the importance of these bones, or an arcana if you have proficiency in either of those.
I have
+4
in religion.
Negative.
You do the religion, I'll do the
I
art.
have -1 in both of them.
Oh wait, I'll
I have
give
a +3
you
in both.
guidance.
Plus, that's
Unless
a
I can
D4?
do that retroactively, I don't know. Oh, this check.
You can do your own check, and he can do his check. Only one of you can have the guidance.
Okay,
So
you can have
you
the
can
guidance.
pick which person.
I could probably give you guidance.
Hang on, no.
I could.
Guidance!
I may be proficient in it, but I know exactly how he should think about this in an arcane way.
Shit.
You guys both cast philosophical discussion with each other.
Well, obviously it didn't work.
I got a 10.
I got a 12.
Yeah.
With the 10 in Arcana, you think that there's probably some potions or spells or something that this could be used for, but you have no idea what they are. With a 12, you know that there's probably some sort of divine significance to these, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Shit.
We're not very good at guiding.
I know. That was pretty funny. That we were like, wait a second, we both have guys.
We both have.
I mean, I know somebody we could ask about things of potentially religious significance, but
Yeah.
if this is like super sacrilegious what we're doing, they may not be happy. If it's like, hey, so we found Agamal's body and we dismantled him for parts, and now we're wondering if it's useful at all.
Can we sell this?
Yeah. They're like, you did what?
Power.
So, what is your guys' intent as far as, are you trying to take what they've dismantled and put all of it in there? Are you
Yeah.
trying to dismantle any more of the skeleton yourself?
I don't think
It will take tools and time if you're trying to dismantle more of it. They have
No.
a pretty good amount of it, and quite a bit of it is processed down to manageable sizes already.
Yeah, let's just take everything that they.
We're raiders, not miners. I mean, adventurers, not miners.
Adventures, explorers,
We're
heroes. even.
opportunistic scavengers. I mean,
So you can go ahead and write on your expedition inventory. You can add to it. Empyrean spear tip and Empyrean bones.
Nice.
Wait, who's doing the inventory for the cart? You were keeping track of the food.
Yeah, I'm doing your guys' rations. I don't know who put down the crystal clusters.
Maybe the person that has the giant.
I think somebody put it on the back of a sheet somewhere.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
I mean, I'm looking, even though I know it wasn't.
I know it wasn't me either.
Pretty sure that was.
I'm pretty sure it was our bookkeeper, Matty G.
I do have it. Excuse me.
Hey,
This one's literally
There's too many
just filled
footsteps
with
you forget
names.
out.
So Empyrean
You don't even know
bones.
his right from his left.
Empyrean bones and Empyrean spear tip.
You don't know his Empyrean bones from his left.
From his Empyrean spear tip.
My Empyrean spear tip is a bone, if you know what I mean.
And some would call it a gilded medal or
But just the
all
tip.
right.
All right.
Just a tip.
Just the spear tip. Okay. Sorry. I was like, who did have that? I did.
I did.
We got some cool stuff. I have fire lichen spice, carrion crawler tentacles, 706 gold, 3 rough gemstones, 8 crystal clusters, Empyrean bones, Empyrean spear tip. Sounds like
Nice.
a pretty successful expedition to me.
Rest in peace, that poor gnome who had gemstones in his pack and was eaten by the shadow people
Eaten
on the
by the
bridge.
shadow people. Before we
R.I.P.
could figure out our mad scientists our way out of it.
Rest in spaghetti and never forget. All right. You guys do all that. It is all loaded up. Are you doing anything else?
Do we want to like disappear the bodies or something like that?
It's the Underdark. The bodies will disappear themselves.
I guess that's true.
Now let's head out.
Can we like run into bait something here that will eat them?
I
What?
don't think we want to.
I don't think we want to lure anything here that could try and catch up with us.
Throw a little bit of cheese on it.
Do
Just throw a little cheese on the ground.
what?
I'll throw a little bit of cheese on the ground.
You throw a little bit of cheese on the ground?
Yep.
For bait, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder.
We want some giant Underdark fish to come eat the Dweger bodies.
The Dweger.
Do you think the
Careful. Careful how you pronounce that.
do you think the Blacklatch clan would be interested in either these mechs or these chainsaws?
They might be, but I don't think we should give it to them.
But they're engineers and artificers.
Right, and these things work off of.
But they might be able to figure out a
suffering.
different power source. Is my point. They might be like, cool, chainsaw. Let's see if it just runs on gas. As opposed to,
Instead of evil juice. That would be funny, but I mean, if we can fit it, maybe.
I'm sure at least one of the chainsaw things would probably fit.
Yeah. Can we fit a chainsaw onto the cart? Or
One
even
of the
portable?
chainsaw hands?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
Well, not probably not in the cart, but you could definitely fit it in the bag or the.
Okay.
Portable hole.
I will add it to the list. Chainsaw hand.
Should it come with the hand attached so that they know, like, here's what it does. Don't attach it to your own hand.
Did you even get it off?
No, this is a warning.
We'll get it off.
You try to do anything with that, that's gonna be your hand.
I wouldn't recommend using the chainsaw hand to get it off.
All right. Yeah. Do we want to try to like disguise our tracks or anything like this to make it look like an accident?
Nar. Let's just go.
Lala's sick of the
Fuck that
Underdark.
Durgar.
She misses her boo Warbin.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm not sure what we can do. I mean, I could try, but it's also mostly stone. And we use pass without trace, so
Yeah.
we at least didn't leave any tracks coming in here, and I could cast pass without trace, and we won't leave any tracks going out.
That might not be a bad idea in general.
We threw
I
the
do like the idea of lining them all up and then putting them underneath the underneath the spear haft. That just amuses me greatly. But I understand that it's not exactly an in-character thing. It's very much a Matty G thinks it's
Yeah,
funny.
but the thing is, it would never work because we've stolen all their shit and like the spearhead and stuff. Which is why if we do it, they'll be like, "This was fucking kobolds or something." Because like,
Do we have?
look at how stupid this was.
No. Do we have? We had that like drow bolt tip, didn't we? Or like, didn't we have like a drow like?
Oh.
What if we
We have a
framed
drow
the drow?
We just like we just
We do
dropped
have a
it like
drow
right
crossbow
like we
bolt
stuck it
somewhere.
into one of the dead bodies.
Framing the drow is the name of my head.
Yeah.
Framing the drow.
I don't mind that idea.
Yeah. I just don't remember
I
if we
think that's
had the
cool.
thing to do it.
We definitely have a drow crossbow.
We took one as evidence.
I don't have it written down. We definitely had one.
I don't think I wrote it down either.
I got.
I'm not
Alchemist
sure we would
Fire.
have brought it down here though. Is the thing.
Yeah. I mean, just if it was in one of our packs, that was just a thought.
Going directly under exploded lamb on heavy metal Bruce Springsteen cover bands.
Are you guys sticking the drow bolt in one of them and then
Yeah, why not?
rolling that joint?
Sounds like it.
And I'll cast Pass Without Trace on our way out just so we don't leave any tracks for the next hour.
Okay. You guys roll out. Drow bolt left behind.
Let's roll out.
If that leads into like some kind of Durgar Drow like war in the Underdark, I will be so
That started the 1,000 year.
the 1,000-year blood war.
With these idiots like, what if we just took this bolt and put it in that guy? Oh, sure.
This is going to be a real Gulf of Tonkin.
It's gonna make
Yeah.
it's gonna make freeing the slaves from the Drow a lot easier if they're distracted.
We convinced the Durgar to help us raid the Drow to steal the princesses back, the royalty back, because they think that they stole the spear tip. Oh man,
You
the
know,
political
Fine,
machinations.
fine. If we
You can
find any
always
giant god spear tips, you can have them as long as we can free the hostages.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to point out that
Not a
Erickson
bad
stole
plan.
the plot from Legend of Zelda Wind Waker for this campaign.
For this section.
I've never actually played a Zelda game apart from a golden cartridge this big on an NES. That is the only.
If you were going to play the
I've
Zelda
ever
game,
played.
that's a good one.
That's the good one to play.
Onwards.
Onward and outward. You guys head out of that cavern, and then are you guys trying to head back now?
I think so.
Yeah, straight shot
It
back.
takes the pretty much direct route back. Okay.
Across
For the
bridge
trek-
of doom.
For the trek back,
okay.
because you guys are
It's like
trekking
19
over
days.
your, like you have a
Don't die.
mapped direct route you've already taken.
Yeah.
This trek is easier. You guys know going back will be easier than going out there. You've already cleared through those caverns. Most of the stuff you will recognize. New creatures from other caverns could have moved into it, but it's less likely that there's trouble. So I will no longer be making you guys make 2 rolls, one a day, one a night. It'll just be 1 roll per day for your return trip.
Cool.
So, day 1 of that return trip, as you guys start to head back, I'd like Jerry to roll me a d20. Tell me what the number.
16.
Do you still want me
16,
making
you say.
survival checks during the day, or
Yes, you are you guys sticking together, or are you still scouting ahead?
I might still scout ahead? Just because all
Okay.
of this is interconnected and who knows what's moved in. Is this a new day, like as far as hit points and stuff are concerned, or is this the same?
I'll say you guys could have long rested after that. Sure. You will still make survival checks. Before you were you making them straight, or are you making them to any sort of?
I think I was just making them straight.
Yeah, but because other things. You'll still be rolling a straight roll, but there'll be a lower threshold for being successful because you're retrekking.
Well, that's good because it's a 9.
A 9. Okay.
Remember, we don't have a lot of extra food on this trip.
Hey,
No,
Jerry,
we
roll me
kept
another
all our
d20.
That's right. Sorry, which who?
Me another one?
Jerry, roll me another d20.
All right.
How many of the 16?
18.
We're getting 18 of the 16.
Okay.
16
This makes sense, actually. You guys head back in this direction, and as you're going, it's, again, pretty hard to get lost here, but as you guys are traveling during the day, you first happen upon this candle. You see what looks like, not the same, but at first what you can see kind of out ahead of you looks like a shambling person, but as you get a little bit closer, looks like a stout, probably Dwergar, unless it's just a dwarf whose skin has really wilted and decayed over time, but who is completely encased in fungus and mold overgrowth. Kind of lifeless eyes, slack jaw, just walking down the cavern towards you guys.
These guys didn't do anything last time, right? They were just...
They're just fungus.
Just chilling.
people, right?
Can I?
They're just fun guys.
They're just fun guys.
I've got parchment and stuff. Can I write a little note that says, "Hello, I am a Myconid spy," and like kind of pin it to his chest?
Give me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand is 11.
Okay, let me see. You can absolutely do that.
And then can I kind of gently steer him down a side passage that's not like that way it won't run into like the caravan, the wagon, or
Sure. I'm going to make this another sleight of hand check to have you like adjust its course without it really realizing it.
that's a 19.
That one's a 19. Okay. Threshold. You need it. So you rolled an 11, and his perception to see what you were doing was a 10. You just rolled a 19, and his perception to see what you're doing was just an 18. You narrowly beat him both times. You kind of slightly turn this thing as it kind of like, it seems like it's just shambling forward and kind of like, again, taking in its surroundings, but you adjust it enough that it goes down a side branch instead. It doesn't seem to realize it's done so, and the rest of the group will be able to walk past.
Nice. Well done, Scout.
Godspeed, Agent Fungus.
From there, you guys will be able to make another day's trip. It doesn't seem like you make very great time with your poor survival roll, but you don't get lost. And then it'll be a long rest that you guys will be able to successfully do, and then another d20 roll for me for the next day's travel.
I'll do it. 10.
10. Okay, and a survival roll.
22.
All right, you guys do well. Make pretty good progress this day. Help make up for the previous day. You guys are able to travel, take a long rest, so on and so forth. Give me another d20 roll and another survival check.
Square.
8.
What was that?
8.
8. Okay,
And
nothing happens.
17.
All right, steady day of travel. We're just going to kind of be going through these unless something happens that you guys have to deal with. Since you're not going to really find anything new, you're taking the same route you've gone back. Give me a d20 roll. Koss can roll me a d20, and Lil roll me a survival.
8. 8.
8, no. Okay,
And 20.
20. All right, somebody, 20.
An interesting-
You guys are good?
Yeah,
Another one?
17.
Oh.
17.
You got inspiration. You got a.
I already know the show.
Bardic and Inspiration.
That doesn't let me reroll.
Can't use that on the random one. Roll me another d20.
The survival check, this might be fitting, was a crit fail.
That's a 9 for this other.
A what?
9.
A 9.
Oh fuck.
9.
And so it all goes wrong.
9, 9, 9.
9, 9, 9,
I
9, 9.
think an interesting way to do this in the future would be to like get like a dice roller thing and like roll a whole bunch of them all at once.
So then they're all just stacked up.
Well, so that way we know, like Erickson can go through them and go, okay, on the 4th day you guys run into this, and then like on the 6th day you run into this. And you might have to redo it, but that way we don't have to like take one at a time. It'll just be like,
You don't like the apprehension of
I just think
rolling a
it's-
crit?
This might speak to me.
As you are traveling through this day, you see light coming from a cave up ahead of you, Will.
Is it the angels with wings?
It's
The microphone.
more of a red light than a golden light.
Like a lava light, or like a lava lamp?
Closer to that than glowing holy light, but not quite this. It's not like the turning molten red. It's a steady glow. Over
But so it's not like torchlight.
no, it doesn't seem to flicker. It seems fairly consistent.
This probably isn't good. Let's sneak up on it.
Roll me
Let's
stealth.
see what it is. 13.
13. You kind of creep up. You do get illuminated as you kind of get towards this cavern, so your invisibility is no longer active. And you peer in to see basically the cavernway that's just before the fork in the road that led to the Black Chasm Bridge. You can see is now infested with what looks like large compared to normal size, but a small creature, fire beetles, which is something you've heard of in the Underdark before. They're basically like small dog-sized beetle that gives off glowing red light. You know that a lot of explorers will harvest that and use it as like torches and stuff because it's like a good light source that lasts a decent amount of time. But there's probably 10 to 15 of these things that are kind of all along the walls and ceiling here. They don't seem to notice you as you approach.
Are they like hostile to like people?
You know that they are not exactly. They're not friendly creatures. They will definitely attack and bite people, but they're something that you can. It kind of depends. It's like a stray dog. You're not really sure if this thing will just like leave you alone or will snap at you. It kind of depends on whether or not they have young with them, whether or not this cave they're protecting or they're like defensive. They're not a necessarily aggressive creature, but they will defend their areas.
On our way down, was it a carrion crawler that we
Yes.
encountered? Can I mimic the sounds of a carrion crawler to see if that makes them scatter?
Interesting.
Absolutely, you
I
can.
was
Go
gonna
ahead
say,
and
like,
give me a
micro-
mimicry, a deception check.
A deception check.
I'll give you advantage on it since you have your mimicry.
I'll take it.
I won't turn down advantage.
Well, that advantage doubled the roll. It's still only a 7.
A 7. Okay. Let's see if they are. Well, not great. At it. Okay.
Tell me it was a
That's-
6. Tell me he overshot
It was a
that
7?
one. Yeah.
Well, I rolled 2 wisdom checks for them to see if they could comprehend what was coming, and it was a 6 and a 0. So these things kind of like their back legs kind of rear up on them, and they kind of make these kind of chittery noises and look, and they kind of start backing and like grouping together. It seems like they believe that you're a carrion crawler, and they seem to be backing away from where it is, but they seem to be doing so slowly and defensively, and less like scattering and running at the moment. So they're still in the cavern. They're aware something's like around the corner from them, and it sounds like a carrion crawler, and they seem to be slowly trying to recede away from it.
As long as it kind of clears a path forward for us, I think that's probably fine.
You think? I mean, for the wagons to get through here, you'd have to back them off further than that.
When we get up there, I can cast minor illusion.
Oh, what was the Umber Hulk was the other one that we encountered. That was like session 1, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try that one, I
Oh,
guess.
see if they're
Okay,
more scared of
roll.
Umber Hulk. Give it a shot.
That almost worked.
Give
Can
me
I-
another advantage.
You're out of this.
Deception.
That is a dirty 20.
That's a dirty 20. That beats the higher of 15 for them. So they once again believe that this is a real creature. It seems with the low, bassy chitter of a Umber Hulk, these things scatter. They wind into, and they seem to scatter together, but they scatter down a side passage and get out of the way.
Using the local ecology to our advantage.
And hopefully that
And,
wasn't
that
an Umber
clears the
Hulk
path.
mating call. Let's get out of this cavern as quickly as we can.
And then out comes the Umber Hulk, and he's looking for trouble. So let's get another D20 in survival. Actually, no roll on the D20 or survival today, as you guys will be taking a very straight path across the Black Chasm Bridge, and through that trek. No roll required today. Nothing is there. There's no new dark orb you guys are able to cross.
Another Thunderdome for us to try to steal.
There's no new Thunderdome. Who dis? Now new D20 and new survival check.
I will do the D20. Oh, it's a 1.
Oh, fuck.
It's a 1.
Survival is a
You're good.
16.
Okay. Another one.
It seems like I think we realized with these D20s, the higher the roll, the more
Yeah.
likely it is something happens. 22.
22. Good to go. Give me just one more of those.
20.
2. Once again, nothing bothers you this day. And once you guys get within, for the sake of these expeditions, the return trip's not getting too tedious. Once you guys get within 10 days, I'm going to let it fast. Like you can essentially fast travel to Skygate at that
No
point.
enemies.
10 days out. We're not going to keep. It's just kind of for the return trip that'll be those. However, During this time, I would like everybody to roll me a wisdom saving throw while you guys are on your way back. And I would like everybody, before you roll it, everybody who has M1 does so with disadvantage.
Okay. That did not that didn't make my roll any worse.
It wasn't. It wasn't the worst roll I could have had, but it wasn't the best.
Okay, let's go around the room. Score.
Justin, do you have an
8.
8. Jerry.
11.
11. Carson.
6.
I do have a -1.
6.
15.
G.
15.
Jeez, your
8.
wisdom saves are really good.
8.
Lowest.
So,
I get
for
that.
Skler, Costigan, Jocelyn, if you have M1, augmented up to M2. And each of you roll me a D100.
That'll be 2d10.
Only ones of us who failed, or everybody?
Only ones that.
Just the ones of you who failed.
Let's all roll and go crazy.
Let's all roll and go crazy.
Let's all go crazy. Oh. Nice.
69.
Nice.
20.
20. With your 20, for a couple minutes on the trip, Dermir just like gets super quiet and just freezes up and doesn't do anything for a while. Like 5 to 10 minutes. He just like stops, and no matter what you guys do, you can't shake him too.
Jeremy, tell me about being a true dwarf.
And nothing seems to really help that. But after a little bit, he kind of snaps back too. And you guys notice
could
at
we
this
feed
point in
him
the trip
mushrooms?
that like this amount of time in the Underdark, especially with eating what is essentially the exact same thing for every meal and seeing almost exactly the same cave walls around you, your minds start to become a little bit unhinged. And later on in the trip, Theogar has some wild dreams. You have like a night where your dreams are some of the most vivid and insane unhinged shit you've ever seen. What was your D100 roll?
It was 35.
35. You get super freaked out for a while one day, for just like 10 minutes. You get in the back of the wagon and refuse to talk to anybody. And it takes a while for you. Basically have a panic attack. You like freeze up and freak out for a little while, have to separate yourself. But after about 10 minutes, you kind of calm down, get your breath back, and come back out. And it feels like, at about this amount of time of traveling in the Underdark and eating pretty much the exact same meal and seeing nothing but cave walls and this amount of time, it seems like it's just really mentally challenging for you guys. Some people take it better than others, but it seems like, I don't know, you're getting some hints at mechanics that happen when you're in the Underdark for long amounts of time.
What was that, like 30 days?
It seems like in the 20 to 30 day range is about where that was happening. And after about 10 more days, you guys will be able to arrive back to Skygate.
I would like to ride the giant spear, like stand triumphantly atop the giant spear as we come rolling through the
Don't
gate,
show
I think.
anybody we have that.
Well, we can't hide
You
it. It's
can't
still
really
away.
Yeah, you
not
can't
show
hide
them
it.
that you have.
Throw a blanket over it.
Build a little fence around it.
But can I, while the candle's standing on top of it, can I just use Ray of Frost to freeze him in place on top of it?
Not without hurting him a little bit. You could certainly try it.
Nah,
It'll
I'm good.
probably cause
I'll
some-
probably fail the roll anyway, and I'll just whiff and hit somebody else.
You're right, I won't call any more attention to us than we'll already get. Very good idea.
And you guys get up to the gate. You can see there's that kind of the large quarantine zone where people are camped out outside of here. And anyone who pays close attention can see one little like tit section of the quarantine zone where there is a stout fellow asleep on a small cot with a large badger at the foot of his cot, also asleep, who seems to be quarantining outside of here, as if he didn't have a deep delver's writ to be exploring down there in the first place.
Of
But
course
don't
he
seem to take note of you guys as you move up, but you'll be able to move up to the gate, and if you show your deep delver's writ, with some small grumbles and
We swear we're not
judgmental
all
glances.
infected by the mushroom people. Definitely no more leeches here.
Yes. I am not a Myconid spy.
As you can see, I am not wearing a sign saying I am a Myconid spy.
That I'm a Myconid
Listen,
spy.
I have.
You guys are able to get into the city of Skygate and have returned safely in varying degrees of sanity from your first Underdark expedition.
Hooray!
Excellent.
Once we get paid, we are all going to the opera to celebrate.
Could do. There is the sweet opera shows. So you guys will be able to arrive back. I assume you're going to Vickelroy, back to Inverted Peaks.
I think maybe we
trek
should
there.
go to the warehouse
Yay.
and
Yay.
just send for Vickelroy.
Yeah,
All right.
that's probably a smarter move.
That's probably a better call.
He needs to get out of the
You
office
guys-
every once in a while anyway, so.
You guys can get there, and there's some workers there. They'll send word out to Vickelroy, who will eventually get there. You can see when you arrive, Jenny is there, kind of the halfling agent hand of Vickelroy. Seems to be kind of overseeing some stuff there, and she'll have word sent out to get Vickelroy there.
Jenny,
after
we
some
missed
time.
you.
And she's like, "You brought back a golden stalactite?
What the fuck is
the
that?
fuck is that?"
Money, hopefully.
Jenny, the blade of Vickelroy, just doesn't work all that well. It's just like
Jenny, the blade
Just
of
not like-
Vickelroy.
it's like you're
Jenny,
it's not as good
the
as
blade
like,
of Vickelroy.
the lady of blade of Vickelroy. It's just not as
I
good
may
as
not be a brave man, Jenny, but I can wield a sword.
I was exploring.
I
just kept exploring and
Money, but
exploring
maybe.
and
I
exploring.
ate when I had to. I went when I had to. Then one day I said, I need to go home.
And so that's what I did.
Anyway,
Man, this really did set it.
Honey Flintbeard's shrimp company. I guess she's the Bubba Gump of this situation. Anyway,
we'll tell
after
Jenny
some time,
to-
Vickelroy will arrive and be very impressed. Be like, "What the hell did you guys bring us? First of all, congratulations. I'm very happy to see you all not dead and with an overladen cart, it would seem. What the hell is that?"
throw down the portable hole.
Oh man, just wait till you see the rest of this shit. We'll start pulling out like the Empyrean bones, like.
So, what I'd like is for you to give me the breakdown of what all you have.
Okay.
So you have the bones,
The bones.
you have the spear tip,
We have the spear tip. We have the chainsaw. We'll start with the most recent.
chains, Okay.
Which we'll sell to the
We
artificers
have-
in town.
We have 8 crystal clusters,
Okay,
3 rough gemstones, 706 gold in just currency.
Those are worth 706.
Those are worth 706 gold.
okay.
We have. I don't know if we have an amount. It was carrion crawler tentacles. So however many tentacles.
One crawler's worth.
Yeah, one crawler's worth. And,
We can assemble a new crawler from all.
And some fire lichen spice, but that's just for me. That's just for.
Are you wanting to keep the fire lichen spice?
I'll probably get it appraised. Like if it turns out it's worth
So that's something that you could probably keep and not tell him about, because fire lichen, like the amount you have, that'd be like, I went on this expedition and found a half-full shaker of cinnamon.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure, we won't subtract that from your
Yeah,
paycheck.
the guy who's literally the cook. Like I'm just like I found this like raw cinnamon. That's
fire
pretty
lichen
cool.
spice isn't particularly rare in these caves. It is a fairly common spice used down here, and in the amount you have it, it's not like
Right.
It's not like a shipment's worth.
Yeah.
You can keep that
Go
free
beans.
of charge. Is there anything you guys are wanting to keep from this, as far as because if you from your previously signed contract, you know that the way that this will essentially work is that 3/5 of the total yield will be equally distributed amongst you all. The remainder of which is the company's. So a lot of this will be sold off, and the 3/5 will be separated out to you guys as a sort of like person by person paycheck, essentially. But if you guys are wanting to individually or as a group keep some amount of this stuff, that is subtracted from what you will earn.
I don't know. You guys want some creeper tendrils?
Nope.
No, I think I'd rather just get paid.
I feel like this spear and bone are like we can't necessarily like pass this up as far as like potentially making equipment.
Absolutely.
I'm also worried that like Vickelroy will sell it, and then like word will get back to the Angels, and they'll be like, "You fucking did what?" And then we'll find out that we've just destroyed the world by just let this thing out to loose. But I
The
doubt that.
Dwergar were the ones doing it.
It's true.
All we did is kill them and finish the job.
All we did was act
totally
opportunistically.
innocent.
Listen, there wasn't like any ominous like bells or anything like that, so it's fine.
We didn't pick it up and evil music didn't start playing.
I didn't hear boss music. Okay,
Yeah.
we're probably fine.
The narrator didn't start speaking as soon as we touched this thing, so I think we're all right.
We didn't go into widescreen.
The black bars didn't start showing up, and we're like, no.
All of a sudden, I'm in third person, and it's like, uh-oh. I think I would like, if possible, enough. I kind of want to make a longsword out of some of this metal, like with a Empyrean bone handle. I think that sounds rad. I don't know if I'm making a hero's weapon or a villain's weapon yet. We'll see what the effects it has when I get it back from the smith. Right, but like as part of my, like I don't know if that would be all of my share because of how, if this thing's the size of a horse, but
it's smaller. The spear tip is smaller than a horse. So think, if a 6 foot person has a spear tip that's like, 7 inches long, 8 inches long, something like that. It'd be like
That's a normal size for a spear tip, yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that's normal size.
That really
according
makes
to
the spear tip have
a
a great
Google search I've never done
personality,
before, the average. So take that, this person is roughly 5 times that height, so the spear tip is not like horse sized.
Right.
The spear tip is like probably shorter than the height of a person, but it is a very fine metal. It would probably be considered a medium
I don't
size.
think you should make
spear
anything
tip.
out of the spear tip. That's like an archaeological,
Vickelroy
it's historically significant. I feel like destroying it to make yourself a sword is.
Vickelroy is
very
going to chop this
colonial of
thing
you.
up and sell it in tiny pieces for as much money as he
You
can.
think that he's going to probably reach out to... If you guys want a portion of it, then he will sell it for scrap. Otherwise, he will probably try and sell it to somebody who sees it as historically significant and see if he can get more money for it.
I feel
So
like this is like
it's
an
probably a pretty
unbelievable
similar
collector's
amount of
item.
money he'll get, either whether he sells it piecemeal or he chops it up and sells it.
I think,
But it will be a
the
portion
vice
of
versa,
your
if you
amount.
sell it as a historical artifact, you get more money, then you could buy a cool sword.
True, but I want to spin the wheel and make it out of unique materials and see what
But
if I
okay,
don't count
Maggie,
like
you're
the God
failing
Method,
to
I
understand.
played, like,
You're
cats.
failing to understand.
You're doing
the point.
an excellent job with that.
If he makes a weapon out of the bones and the spear tip, and that's awesome. Next time he runs into the Angels, he's gonna have a super rad weapon to show
What
off.
I'm saying, Will, is it belongs in a museum.
I think we're having an Indiana Jones moment here. Except you're not on the Indiana Jones' side, which is
Oh God, Will's on the side of history we don't want to know.
Absolutely not. There's one thing I agree with. It's punching Nazis. in the
I was
face.
gonna say that's the real historical conservationism argument is if you're not with Indiana Jones, you're with the other guys.
You're with the other guys, and they're terrible.
I think I would at the very least like enough bone to do a bone handle on a longsword.
That'd be cool.
But if we're gonna just sell this thing wholesale, that's
I think
then we can. Then if we need to get it back for some
There's
reason,
tons more bones.
then we
on
can
it.
have a cool heist later of stealing it back from the bad guys that we sold it to.
stealing it back.
It's
from the
up to you.
dump.
So, like, Vickelroy isn't guaranteeing he's going to keep it together either. It's just dependent on whether you guys want a portion of it. He's happy to chop it up and sell it piecemeal.
Right.
If not, it'll be a portion
You
of
could
it.
put
Like,
that provision
it is
there.
the spear tip is by far the most valuable thing you have amongst this stuff, and that value is going to be high regardless. But it's up to you guys whether if any of you want that, and if only one of you wants that and everyone else says no, then you can like outvote each other, but you can also have a conversation about it. It's not you guys saying we're not going to chop this up into pieces doesn't mean that it won't get chopped up into pieces and sold in pieces.
Right.
Vickelroy does not care about this as a relic. He cares about it as something to make him money.
Maybe there's a good middle ground there of if it doesn't get chopped up, fine. But if it does, he wants a portion of his money, his pay, to be taken as like a hunk.
As that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way we don't have to be morally responsible. We can pass that buck to Vickelroy. It's like there's nothing we could do. He sold it at piecemeal. Also,
Since Vickelroy was gonna be a bastard and
Yeah.
did it, then
if Vickelroy's
take
gonna be a
piece
bastard anyway, then at least we can get our buck out of it. I do like the moral quandary of it belongs in a museum. Like we stole it from a bunch of Duragar zombie men.
We're colonialists.
Yeah,
It belongs in our museum.
I know it belongs to our culture, but it belongs to our museum.
History will remember our words over this. You know, the Duragar don't get a say in this.
So,
Duragar can't be
I think that's the only
he's
thing
going to
that
take
I
all this stuff. He says it'll take some time to basically appraise it all. But if you guys go about your business for a day or two, he should be able to bring your either pieces or your gold pieces at the end of probably about 2 days' time.
Do we have
will
a
let you all
regular?
know.
Do we have a regular
What?
paycheck waiting for us as well, or?
You do. You also have a roll to make if you're Matty G. For the time you've been
is
away.
it a D20 or is it a D100? I don't remember.
Let me get to the place where I can determine that.
These are kind of weird, but I don't mind.
You're alright.
What is it? Frostbite?
The Frostbite Mountain Dews. I do prefer.
It's not a dude running on the frost.
Voltage.
It's a D100.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe you have some
Good
modifiers as well, though, which I have to go
If they
to
make
the
use.
section of the notes.
Oh, good. You were keeping track of this. I'm like,
Yes.
oh god.
You have a +5, I believe, a permanent +5 because of your reduced costs with the partnership with Theogar's family.
Right.
With not paying the import tax through his city.
Right.
So it'll be a D100 +5.
Nepotism.
Nepotism ho!
No, it's just
91.
business.
91.
I think it was a good month for
That was
us.
a good month.
It's actually a really bad month for us.
91% of
You're
our
bankrupt.
assets have been liquidated.
91% of Theogar's kingdom has been overrun.
Yay.
Again?
Not again.
Not again.
That's
Can we
the
keep
real
this clean
medieval
for 10
life
minutes?
simulator. Your home city's been overrun by a different political group. Again.
I just fixed this.
I just started learning to speak French.
Yes. That's the real.
Oh god, they surrendered.
so-
They're all French.
After an amount is taken to help pay off your loan, you will make 95 gold, just flat out for your paycheck, your excess that you'll make this month. And everybody else will get 50 gold in a paycheck. For your I work for the company, so this is what I'm making. This for my paycheck.
95. That's a good deal.
Where am I keeping track of my gold?
And just know that the 95
It's at
is
the
what
bottom.
you're making
In the center.
after a decent amount
No, he
is
just hasn't been
removed
writing
to
it there,
pay
so
off
he
your loan
doesn't
from
know.
your
Where have you been writing it down? If not in the section that's labeled for gold pieces.
After paying my mortgage.
Um,
that's fine.
Yeah, hooray! It's the real world. And also, returning back, you guys not only have paychecks waiting for you, there's a couple other things. There is a small note waiting for Zeraxis that is in fairly fine, written on fairly fine vellum, and is addressed from 8th Stammeraster.
Oh.
And there's also a small package waiting for Axel that has a book inside of it.
A book.
And is sent from somebody you met up in Darkcap that you hired to track down a book for you.
Oh,
They were able to do that. during
nice.
It's your book.
It's the book I was
It
looking
is
for.
your book.
The big book of books.
So,
And we're back around Hinkara, which is the only thing that matters.
and Hingara is also waiting for you. excitedly greets you all. He kind of excitedly greets, of course, his Booyag. Is less excitedly greeting everybody. Like, yeah, how you guys doing? He's like, patting you down and making sure you're okay, and making sure nobody hurt the Booyag while you're out.
I lost a finger.
Oh god! He's like,
I'm just kidding.
you are a mighty Booyag.
I do the thumb.
You do the
I am a very mighty boy. Surely I can
teach me that trick. And he has learned, in this time you were gone, he learned the Identify spell.
Amazing. Great job. Truly, truly fantastic.
Truly a wizard for the age. So, let me...
So I got the letter from... I can't say her name. Eighth, yeah. All right.
Yes. So, the letter from Eighth seems to just be a short little excerpt she writes that she says, essentially, she asked around with her contacts about what information, because you asked for information on the drow. Sent her a request for that. She basically said that what she was able to find was a sort of familial breakdown from an escaped slave of theirs. There's the kind of city of the drow that's nearby here that you guys already know the name of, but I will look up again real quick. Vordra. That in the city of Vordra there was once 6 great houses. There is now 5. And that this slave was an escapee that used to be enslaved by the 6th house that was eradicated. It basically says that what is known from this slave is that their society is run as a matriarchal theocracy. So it is a female-driven, wholly religion-based government. That it is house structures who runs it, and it has a detail of the 5 remaining houses' names and banners. If you're interested, you don't have to necessarily. You might want to write these down so you can identify them in the future. There is the Zafrestis house, Zaphreztice. The Zafrestis house, which is a dark purple banner with a black demonic visage. Basically, a black demon face on a purple banner.
Okay.
There is the Ziltsyr house, which is Xiltsyr.
Okay.
Which is a gold mushroom on a black banner.
Because clearly you're not true dwarves.
Clear.
No, the drow.
Yeah.
There is
Also,
the
a gold mushroom. A gold mushroom seems so like. It's like God, the drow. They're the most terrifying things in the Underdark. Look at their war banner, and it's just like a gold mushroom.
Okay.
And then there is the Hunzrin house, which is Hunzrin, which is a black chain on a red banner. The Arganala house, which is Argynala, Arganala, and theirs is a white spider on a black banner.
Kiss ups.
Which might be relevant to you guys to pay attention to that one. And there is the Jalavar house, which is Jalavar, and their banner is a red eye on a gray banner. And since it's been a minute, just for the sake of helping you guys remember, white spider on a black banner maybe should stick out to some.
Who's got
specifically?
Backstory. Who's got
Literally all of you
Yeah.
should have heard of this before.
Were those the drow that were buying the people? The
The ones who
Ivory Syndicate?
The corpse that you spoke with described 2 drow who kidnapped a queen and described black cloak, white spider.
Thank you.
So that's who they are. They're the ones who kidnapped the queen.
Yeah. What was their
It's
name?
been a minute.
They are the
That's Arganala.
Arganala. Yeah.
Okay, good. We have a name.
Yep.
I have a name. Also, there is the book waiting for you, and you can see that the book is essentially a telling of the believed origin story of the Raven Queen. It's a pretty detailed description of essentially the Raven Queen was a well-beloved elven queen who attempted a ritual to ascend to godhood to essentially mediate a conflict between the god Corellon and the god Lolth, basically the god of elves and the god of drow, trying to help stop this like kind of schism in the elves. And it describes her basically trying to do this ritual to ascend to godhood to mediate this with her followers, but that a group of her followers essentially circumvented the ritual to try and gain the power from this for themselves. And that one of these elves who did this has the name Weldra. There are 10 named elves who were the kind of ones who tried to circumvent this and gain power for themselves. One of their names is Weldra.
Weldra, one of the 10 betrayers. Does it say if they were an elf or a drow?
It does not. Well, I mean, it says that she was a well-beloved elven queen, and it does kind of have a separation between elf and drow in the rest of the text. So it seems like she probably wasn't drow.
Okay, cool. I'm going to also take this time to reply to Eighth. I'm going to ask her if she can meet in person because of the information that I received about the is it Slofton? The Snurflet Nebulin?
Slofton?
Yeah. I wanted to talk with her in person about that.
Okay. If you can send out a message to try and meet in person, have a conversation with her, absolutely. It'll take some time to get returned, but the message is sent.
Cool.
Does my book tell me what happened to the betrayers?
It does not.
Okay.
The kind of last bit of that is essentially it saying that they were only partially successful in their evil plot, and the Raven Queen still, to some degree, ascended, and they all felt her wrath. Is essentially all that it details. It doesn't say anything beyond that.
Okay. Good to know.
You all are able to do anything else you want to do. That's what's waiting for you there. That's the information you all have gained during that time.
We've got 2 days of downtime activity.
I would like to rent a viewing box at the Sapphire Residence Opera House.
Okay, so
you are
if
all
you would
invited
like to
to
go,
the opera.
there's some decisions to make with that. Yeah.
Harrison's like, yes, the opera. I've written all this out.
What act would you like to see? It sounds like.
Somebody wants to go to the opera house. Finally, my notes, they're relevant.
The Phantom of the Opera side quest is finally here.
The Sapphire Residence
She's gonna be
Opera
the
House
Crimson
has a
Fox.
couple of different options you can do. There's kind of the options of how you're going to view it, as well as the options of who you're going to view. You can get seats based on where you want to be. There are nosebleed seats, there are standard seats, there are up-close seats, and there are private boxes. You can also choose, there's multiple different acts that are currently available on different days. Reading through them, it is the first one that you recognize is the Opera Hammers, which were the people who performed at that dinner you were at. There's also somebody named Dolgrita Bronze Tap, which it seems to be a like single artist performance there. It seems to be with any locals would know that Dolgrita is the daughter of Dolgrim, who is the person who runs the opera house. So she's kind of seen as this prodigious opera singer. There's also a group that is referred to as the Clanless that performs there. Their poster that's posted up there seems very edgy. And if you're like a local who would have any interest in the arts, you know that they're basically operatic performing slam poetry artists who are a group of younger slam poetry opera singers. And the last one listed is the name. The last one is Gerert Bronze Tap. which some of you might recognize as a owner of a pretty prominent restaurant in town, and somebody who quite likes your golden friend.
Who's playing tonight, and how much is a private box? You're all invited, even the unfathomables.
Which one of them
He's got
is
fancy
playing
clothes.
tonight? Tonight is Dolgrita.
Why not?
All right.
How much is a
Okay.
private box?
I wanna
A
go see
private
Plan
box is 100 gold pieces. There's only 4 available for each show, and it does include free apps and bottle service.
Oh. Well, then let's go to the opera.
If it's a big chunk of change, we can go halvesies.
It will be, but I'm fine to pay it. You know, money doesn't do you any good when you're dead.
All right, fair enough. If you spend it on healing potions instead, you won't be dead.
Not guaranteed. Also, go ahead and take inspiration, Will, for seeking this out, paying for it yourself, and following with your character, who I know you've talked to before, says he gets his money and blows it as soon as he gets it on fancy.
That is true. This was
role-
very much an in-character conversation between us.
Yeah, that was I can
go have
conversation.
some,
So
it's
take your inspiration, because that is playing to your character, and I love it.
I will actually. I won't say that you. I won't invite you all to the opera. I will. I will just tell everybody that there are reservations at the opera tonight.
Yeah, well, I absolutely have to
We
take
have
in Gara.
We have a private box.
Of course.
I need to culture him.
Of course.
What kind of booyag would I be if
Or
I
at the
did
very
not
least,
entertain
you, or
my
at the, or at the
apprentice?
very least, you
Have you
need
ever
the other
been to the
peanut in
opera?
your peanut gallery to mock whatever it is that you're.
The smallest,
Oh, are you gonna try and invite Corbin?
most rotten peanut.
I mean, it's a private box, so there's
Yeah.
plenty enough space for everybody.
Or probably could have gotten us free tickets. You know.
You would know that the private boxes could comfortably fit probably at most 10 people. It would be a little crowded at 10, but with the 6 of you plus like Hingara, anyone else, you guys could invite up to 10 and not be uncomfortable. If you invited more than 10, it would start to get pretty cramped in there.
Besides, if you're going to have dramatic conversations that drive the plot forward, a private box in the opera house is just like
Absolutely.
the place.
You
To
can
I
told you the tale of
Can
Darth
I invite him?
Plagueis.
of course.
Have I ever told you this
Orban,
tale
I love that
the
guy.
tragedy of
Not like you love
Darth
that guy,
Plagueis?
but I love that guy.
I'm gonna go. Visit
Who all is invited apart from the 6 of you?
Warbin.
You're gonna send Warbin an invite to go there? Okay.
Well,
Warbin,
Lala
Hingara.
specifically will send him an invite. If he gets an invite from me, it'd be kind of awkward.
And obviously,
anybody else?
everyone's favorite Booyag assistant.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
Igar will be there. Anybody else that's?
You guys have 2 more seats if you would like to. It would be more spacious and comfortable without filling those 2. But
I don't think there's anybody else really.
Unless you want to invite Aurora.
Who's Aurora?
She's the kid.
The shopkeeper.
The
No, she's our.
Aurora's the
your other
tabaxi.
magical
She's
employee.
the tabaxi.
She should definitely come. She's part of the crew.
Aurora's the one
Okay.
who we rescued from the hags.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Aurora and.
We'd invite that kid too, but I assume he's back on the service.
He's probably
he's
back
got
now.
a bedtime. He can't.
He's got a
Aurora is overjoyed to be invited to this and says she will go and fetch her finest silks to her.
Hooray. All right. Yeah. Cool beats. Yeah. Exciting.
I ain't going to buy new clothes. I'm just gonna wear what I have.
That's fine.
I will dress in my most
Audacious.
most
God.
garish.
I'm not allowed. We're not allowed to take weapons, are we?
I don't know.
Sir, this is
So, for the sake of this, to kind
How's
of
he supposed to do
that'll be done. You guys have those purchased. It'll probably be next episode we do those. But before we go to next episode, just to kind of finish up the bookkeeping portion of this, essentially what will happen is that Vickelroy will come back and say that the people he knows who would be interested in the historically significant aspects of that spearhead do not pay as well as the people who are interested in raw materials. And so if you would like your portion to be a sliver cut from this, or a portion of your pay to be that, you can absolutely do so. That as well as enough of the bone to make a handle. He can do that for you.
And it doesn't
will increase
necessarily
your-
it doesn't necessarily even need to be enough for like the whole blade, if that makes sense. But enough to sort of like, because you and I are fans when crafting items of like the
using
items
pieces
being
of
used
stuff.
or being significant. I essentially want enough for it to be significant, but it doesn't have to be the whole thing if that's going to like.
If that's
It's
like your
kind
entire
of
paycheck.
you're choosing
It's going
how
to
significant
cause
it is by how much of the blade is made of it. If you want enough for the entire blade, you can do so with your portion. You'll be paid much less than everybody else if you do that, but it will be more significant what it does if you choose to do.
Sure. Why not?
Okay,
Money or power? It's always power. 'Cause power gets you.
it's always power. So
I will use this holy blade to rob money from everybody who didn't get a holy blade made.
Fools. Now you are.
you will be receiving enough of this metal to make a blade, enough of this bone to make a handle, and 281 gold pieces.
Wow. Okay.
Each.
Everybody else will be receiving 1,681 gold pieces per person.
1,681.
Yep.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
not doing math.
I'll actually I'm actually fairly close to being able to afford a breastplate, which is nice. But most of this money is probably going to go towards
680.
Towards the crafting.
towards the sword.
1,681.
I'm fucking
Mental
I need to go have a chat with my rune heart contact.
I'm gonna spend most of the day back on my soapbox, but I'm going to come with tales and validation of my journeys to the Underdark.
Okay. It seems like you get your usual crowd of alt-right dwarves who are like, yeah, true dwarfism, yeah, who kind of huddle around you. But then you also get a crowd of like kids who are listening to the story and think it's very interesting and like are like, oh yeah, cool story. And then like your storytelling kind of transitions into, and that's what being a true dwarf is. And they kind of seem to like kind of lull off and get bored and wander away. But the people who are in are super into both aspects of it.
If I were to go to the rune hearts, would I be back in time for the opera?
Sure.
Okay. I need to go have a chat with Milo about acquiring some goods. Now that I have the funds.
Is this in relation to the ritual goods you were trying to purchase?
Yes, because I now have enough to do this.
You have the amount there, so I don't have to find it in my notes.
This sheet, which is where I put all my names,
Pretty
is
sure
quickly
it's somewhere.
going to just be.
I think it was like 500 to 1,000, but I gotta find my note.
You have any more
I wrote
snakes?
it somewhere. Where the fuck is it?
I definitely have it written down somewhere in these notes. It's just in this section 800 per ritual.
There's
800. I knew I was in the
You are
ballpark.
correct in the range. If you go to the rune hearts and ask for those specific supplies,
Hey,
that you,
2 out of 3
if
ain't bad.
you can ask for those specific
pretty
things.
good.
If you
That's
pay
pretty
800 gold,
good
you will
completion
have.
there.
You will
This
have
early in
ritual
the game.
supplies.
All right, I will go ahead and pay that 800 gold for it.
Okay, you have the supplies. You would know that this ritual will help in the location of this thing. The closer you are to the thing, the more
Accurate.
helpful it will be. So you could do it from Skygate, or you could do it from somewhere in the like you could choose to do the ritual whenever you want to now. But the usefulness of it will depend on the proximity of what you're searching for.
Sweet.
You have those ritual supplies.
I need to talk. I'm probably going to need to go talk to a Forge clan. The problem is, who do I go talk to? Do I go talk to Flintbeard because we have a arrangement with them already, and they're more modern and accepting? Or do I talk to Greystomp because they're like true traditionalists, which seems cool, but they may not want to do business with me because they're like.
You know that
True
they're
tradition.
it's like they will be paid by you to craft something. They're more so like they don't want to do business with other businesses, surface businesses. They want to sell their products direct to people. You could probably do business with either. The Flintbeards will be more accommodating and more of a modern take on crafting. The Grey Stomps are absolutely traditional dwarven smiths. So kind of stylistically, what you're going for will also depend on that. Flintbeard, you also have a lot more options of smiths in terms of like there's a big variety of people who operate pretty autonomously. Grey Stomp, it is like a familial unit that crafts, and they're very strict on guidelines of how things are crafted to follow tradition.
I mean, since we've got a connection to Flintbeard, I'd like to see if I could, like, kind of, through the company, get an audience with Benji Flintbeard himself.
Okay.
To get his recommendation for a smith, because this is like, the materials are unique.
Yes, absolutely. You could definitely do that. That's a favor. That's absolutely something you could call up on. And you would get a recommendation of a specific smith who works in his service who specializes in exotic materials. And you'd say that he would probably not have the I've worked with celestial gilded metal before,
right.
But like using unique metals, metallurgic practices in order to like maintain metal while learning its properties is something that this guy kind of specializes in and would like have the least waste in figuring out how to forge with this.
Let's go talk to him then.
Okay. If you call in the favor, that he'll say that he'll also put in a word with you that you're like a friend of the family, of the house, the clan, and you'll probably get a decreased rate on the construction cost of this.
I appreciate
that. And just to again kind of wrap up bookkeeping stuff before the opera, next time, we'll say that if you go to this smith, he will charge you 150 gold to craft this. But that is start to finish the whole process, creating it with these exotic materials, and it will be done probably in a couple days' time.
Oh wow, he works fast.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, you're commissioning it, so he's like, I'm clearing my schedule.
And that's
cool.
like 150. This guy's. I mean, he's used to working with exotic materials. He seems like the kind of smith that does like one project at a time for a couple days, and that is his sole focus. He's not on the forge
24 hours a
out
day,
horseshoes.
doesn't sleep, just a crazy artist fuels himself on drugs. And
Exactly. And then he takes the next couple weeks off and goes and drinks onto the money he's made. He's not a hard work every day like pounding. Like he makes a piece of art and then he lives off of his financial means for a little while.
He's an artist.
But with these things in process, you have a sword that should be on its way. You have a conversation with Eighth that will hopefully be on its way. With that, I think that is where we will stop this episode of Skygate.
Yeah.
You guys having finished your first expedition, got your first payday, and next time, to the opera! Awesome. Thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you in the next episode of Skygate. Bye. Bye.